Good evening, strangers. I know that I talked last week about Thanksgiving and that I was thinking about doing a video with regard to a particular president in this video. I'm going to postpone that video for another time. So instead what I'm going to do is I want to talk about Star Trek. In particular, I want to talk about an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation that I watched just this past week, which is called Ship in a Bottle. Now, I'm going to tell you ahead of time, I'm not going to do any screen cuts or anything with regards to the episode or any of the other episodes I'm going to reference here, because I know CBS is very, very strict on copyright right now, and I don't want that to negatively affect this video in any way, so you'll have to use your imaginations, and I apologize for that. The main episode I want to talk about is called Ship in a Bottle. It's basically about this character, Professor Moriarty, who comes back and he takes over the Enterprise through the holodeck that he's in, basically creating another Enterprise within the holodeck where he traps some of the crew members, try to convinces them that holodeck Enterprise is the real Enterprise, so that Moriarty can gain control of the real Enterprise. I know it's a little confusing, but that's essentially what this is talking about, which is why it's called Ship in a Bottle. It's the Enterprise inside the Enterprise. Despite the fact that in a few years ago from this episode, Picard had been the sole reason that Data was no longer considered to be a property of Starfleet and is considered to be a unique individual, a unique sentient being, and therefore has all the rights that a sentient being should have. He kind of seems like ignores that with Professor Moriarty, given that he's a holodeck character and doesn't actually exist except through computer-generated force fields. The first time that they encounter Moriarty, he took over the Enterprise before. They managed to defeat him by Picard basically telling him, oh, you know, I'm gonna pinky swear with you that when this is all said and done, if you give me back control of my ship, I will take all the information I can and give it to Starfleet and let them try to figure out how to make you a real person so that you don't have to be stuck in this box and you can actually go out in the real world. Even though Picard said you are a unique individual, you have somehow gained sentience, even though you that shouldn't be possible given the confines and the restrictions that are put upon this environment. This should not be possible. You shouldn't be aware of who and what you are, and you shouldn't be aware of where you're at and the limitations that have been put upon you. So we go years later, holodeck malfunctions, and Barclay, who has been told to go in and fix it, inadvertently reactivates the character, and then the character's like, oh great, so how is it going? And he's like, dude, I don't know who the heck you are, which ticks off Moriarty, and rightfully so, because Moriarty was told that people are working on it. So when he gets reactivated, he's thinking, oh great, you guys have made some progress, so you're going to talk to me about, where we're at. And the first person he meets doesn't have a clue about what's even going on. So right there tells me that Picard probably didn't follow through with, he may have put it in a log or something, but I don't think he really meant to go beyond that. No, I don't think so. I think Picard in his mind was like, this is just a bugged out program, was a one-time deal, we'll turn him off, problem solved, I'll write it up in a log, ship it to Starfleet, let them figure it out, we're done. They could have isolated him from the ship, they could have transferred his information to Starfleet. No, that's not what's happening here at all. That's not what's happening at all. It's frustrating Moriarty because now, as soon as, being reactivated, seeing this, he's like, so you don't know who I am, you don't know what I've been going through or what I went through, you don't even know about the pinky swear that Picard and I had, and I'm pretty sure that Moriarty would probably have been okay with, we're not there yet, but we're reactivating you to give you a progress report because we don't know where you're at, and we need to know what you're going through. Like, are you aware of passage of time? Picard finds out that he's been reactivated. There's no checks on, hey, does he still have access to taking over the ship because he did that last time? Nope, no check on that. It's Moriarty wants to meet, so we're gonna meet Moriarty wherever Moriarty wants to meet, and it's in the holodeck because that's the only place that he can go, because that's the only place he can exist. So he doesn't open up a channel because Moriarty knows the ship, so he could have just opened a communications channel to the holodeck and talked to Moriarty that way, but no, he's gonna go face to face because that's what Moriarty wants, and he's gonna bring Data and Barclay with him. That makes sense, but Picard and Data both know what Moriarty is capable of. And that's what's frustrating here, is because I think Picard kind of knew that he didn't follow through, and so he's, in the back of his mind, he's trying to figure out, okay, how do I save this situation, because it could get really bad really quick if I don't handle it delicately. But at the same time, he's so focused in that he misses key points along the way, where once he left the holodeck and thought he left it, he actually didn't. And there's cues along the way that he misses, that had he been paying more attention to it, he would have figured out that, oh yeah, I actually am still on the holodeck, so there's nothing you can do to my ship. You can only hurt 3 crew members out of thousands, so do whatever you want and you're not gonna get anything anyway. But he misses that, and so I kind of I'll forgive him for that. Data, on the other hand, should have picked up on clues immediately. For instance, when Moriarty steps off the holodeck and they go to sickbay right away, and sickbay scans Moriarty and says, oh yeah, he's human. Well, that's not his construct is human, yes, but would he really read as human, being that he's technically not? He's energy and matter. He would be reading human on anything from the holodeck, because the holodeck is programmed to do that. Data should have questioned it, like, okay, so he's reading as human, but that doesn't make sense because technically he's not. I'm not saying he's not a sentient being. I'm just saying that he's not a human being. In Moriarty's eyes, he's been betrayed, because he pinky swore with the captain that the captain was going to do whatever he could to help him out, and he didn't. He wants it fixed. He wants it solved now. He's done waiting. He's waited several years and nothing has happened except for him being reactivated again by accident, which he knows he's been reactivated by accident because the first person he talked to was somebody that didn't even know that he existed or what was going on. Because throughout that entire episode, what he's really trying to do is he's trying to become a real person. He doesn't want to be locked inside a box. He wants to come out. He wants to do what everybody else does, that he wants to come and go as he pleases. Now, that's not to say that he might still not be a bad guy based on the character that he was written for, but we don't know that because he's in desperation. So looking at that character from that standpoint as just a pure evil character, he's not a pure evil character. He has flaws, but his biggest flaw is that he wants to be human. He is basically Data. Instead of having the ability to move around and come and go and have his own quarters, couldn't they develop even a rudimentary bot that they could transport his information in? Data is a prime example. It doesn't have to be as sophisticated as Data, then at least he's got something. Like, that would have been a step in the right, in at least some direction. Like, okay, well, we can't make you exactly who you are, but what we can do is we can transfer your consciousness into this robot, and it will give you it's something until we can get you further. And I think that would have been better. And I think that Moriarty is really angry and frustrated at Data because Data they're the same person. It's just Data has the ability to go and do stuff, and Moriarty doesn't. Moriarty is stuck, and I think that Moriarty resents Data for that, because he sees Data as what he wants to be. He wants to be able to do everything that Data can do, and he can do everything that Data can do, except he can't come and go as freely as Data can from the box. And I think had they actually focused more on, let's get you downloaded into a program, into a device that lets you do that, I think that we would have seen a better version of Moriarty at that point, where Moriarty can then go, okay, so I'm programmed to be a villain, that's what I'm programmed to be, but I have all this free range and I have access to free will, so do I really want to be an evil person? And I think that would have been a really great episode where, okay, so the first time they encounter him, he takes over the Enterprise, he's being evil because that's all he knows how to be, and then they transfer him into another machine, and that machine lets him move around, and now he's able to move around and figure out who he actually is, and find out, is the programming of me being an evil character all I am, or is it more than that? And that's a lot of what he was talking about in both episodes that he appeared in, was I am more, I believe I am more than the character that I was written to be. I believe I'm more than that, and I want the opportunity to explore who I am. And he's never given that opportunity. He's sort of that throughout, and to the point that Picard even orders Data to... Oh, great, I'm running out of power. He even orders Data to basically create a fantasy world for Moriarty to live. So we never see him again. So we don't know how that plays out. So that was interesting watching it watching it later on after watching it before and really grasping what I'm seeing. Like the character was never an evil character. He was just misunderstood. And unfortunately that's just how sometimes that's how life is. Sometimes people aren't actually evil, and there's more to them than that. And so that's where we're at. That's all I wanted to share for you. So I'm running out of battery power. I'm in a DFTBA, and I'll see you guys next Thursday.